Our final wonderful presenter today. I'm so excited to meet Lindsay. I haven't met Lindsay yet. We've sort of been texting. Lindsay Heiserman. Lindsay is a personal trainer. She's a life coach, and she's also a speaker with over 15 years of experience. I think between us all, we've got 100 years anyway. She's got a master's degree in counseling and also psychotherapy. And so she really incorporates those principles into all of the practice that she does as a health and wellness coach. She says that movement has always been the actual foundation of her work with all her clients. But even more important is her attention to their mental, their emotional, and their physical health. It's a combination for Lindsay as a coach. As one of her clients says, Lindsay's helped me move past my mental roadblocks and encourage my ideas and help me build self-confidence. We all need that, don't we? She specializes in building relationships with her clients and with her wellness clients, in addition to coaching other fitness and wellness business owners to grow their business with both compassion and strategy. And I'm super excited. We put you at the end, even though your talk was go for a walk in your pajamas, because I thought, Lindsay, you could inspire all of us to go for a walk tomorrow morning when we get up after we listen to your great talk. So take it away, Lindsay. I'm so happy to have you as our final presenter today for the Women's Healing Retreat.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really excited to chat with everyone. And I want to say first off that this is going to be interactive and you might want to take some notes. You might want to put some things in your phone. So I really encourage you. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I love to do talks interactively. So put some answers in the chat box and maybe we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. But we are going to talk about health and wellness, which is a really broad topic, right? I'm sure it brings up a lot of different things for you as you hear those words. And I want to highlight a couple of things that I wrote for my talk description and lead us into the idea of going for a walk in your pajamas, which maybe you will do tomorrow, which will be great. So expectations, perfectionism, and trying to do it all are a few of the barriers that we really sort of let get in our way that affect our mental and emotional health, which then, of course, also affects our physical health. These show up for each of us in a variety of different ways. And I think we can all attest that 2020 has probably magnified some of these tendencies, has, put us off kilter a little bit, and a lot of other things. And for many, health and wellness or fitness or eating patterns, sort of whatever phrases you think of most when you think of health and wellness, are the first to go. When the demands of life really come at us, that's what goes away first for a lot of us. So we're going to focus on those things today. And my goal for this session is for you to leave with 3 easy practices that you can do on your own at any time to sort of center yourself, make progress in your health in a broad sense, right? Mental, emotional, and physical. You might find that you like one of them more than the other, which is great. I want you to be able to really gravitate towards at least one that will be helpful for you. And they do kind of flow and build in on one another. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to just close your eyes for a quick moment. And I want you to think about what comes to mind when I say the word health. Just sort of notice any images, any thoughts, any behavior patterns that you might have in your own life. What do you think of when I say health? And then also, what do you think of when I say wellness? What flashes to you right away? What might you put even on a vision board if you were to make a vision board? Or if someone asked you, what's your definition of wellness? And the third word I want you to really think about is fitness or physical body. What comes to mind when you think of those things? And then I want you to take a really big inhale and feel that in your entire body. And let all of 2020 and your own wellness, your own fitness, your own physical body. How was the last year for you? How could you summarize it? Take a little inventory. What are the emotions that come up for you? The feelings? Maybe even you set some goals at the beginning of 2020. And as you kind of open your eyes and think about all of those phrases, those are the three things we're really going to focus on, right? Health, wellness, fitness, physical body. And if you want to make a few notes, type them in the thing. Throw a few of them in the chat if you'd like. What came up for you with those three words? I would love to share some of those with the group. So, what comes up when you heard the word health or wellness? Or what happened for you in 2020? Share with us if you would like, and I'll share a couple of mine as well before we move on. So for me, when I think of health and wellness, especially, I think of my ability to handle my emotions and how I can use that and sort of reroute my thinking very quickly. So physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, yes. Energy for health, I love that. I got to scroll up a little bit here. Sleeping well, yes, definitely think about that. Oh, summarizing 2020 was healing. I love this. Being more active in a virtual walk challenge. These are great. Yes, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Expansion, yes. Health, having joy in all I do. Oh, that's a really good one. Yes. Wellness, sort of ... not sick. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's important to note where you are in terms of all of these words too, right? Because you're going to take that as we go a little further. Health, strength, exercise regularly, eating right, wellness, mental health, meditation, alternative medicine. I love this. You are my people. So I want to share the story of how go for a walk in your pajamas really came up, because I feel like most of us will resonate with this in at least part of the story. So I was working with a client and she said to me, I really want to do more movement. Great. Yes. What kind? How? And she said, walking feels really good. It's kind of a meditation. I would like to do it in the morning and it doesn't have to be very long. I said, great. Okay. What are your obstacles? And she says, well, I get up and I have all the intentions to go out. And then in the process of getting ready, my kids bother me and my husband bothers me. And then I check my email and then I do something else. And then I decide that I should have breakfast first. And then I sit down to do something else. And she says, I get fully wrapped up in my day and I don't even go for the walk. When the intention of the walk was to clear my head, was to set myself up for a good day. And I just let it slip away. I said, okay, so what are some of these obstacles, right, that are getting in the way? The kids, the husband, the job, the email, all things that we can likely resonate with. And I said, you know what else is getting in the way? I said, getting dressed. And she sort of laughed. And I said, it's one more hurdle that you have to cross to get to that walk. What if you didn't even change your clothes? You put your pajamas on, you threw a coat on. We live here in Minnesota, so you definitely need a coat. You threw on your coat, your hats, and all of those things, and you just went for the walk. You could remove that barrier. And so she did. And I said, you don't even have to go far, right? What if you only go for a walk a little bit around the block? Or 2 times around the block, right? Because in her head, it was this big grandiose idea, and that she really would have to do something special to make it happen, right? So she decided that maybe I could go for a walk in my pajamas. So keep that in mind. The things that are important in that story are sort of removing some barriers and going with minimum expectations a little bit, right? So I want us to go to the first of the 3 activities. And I will also say, I hear the volume is a little low. So I'm going to explain this first, and then I'm going to work on my volume. So the first activity, and again, I'm going to ask for some interaction if you'd like to participate. The goal of all three of these things is for you, like I said in the beginning, to have a thing you can attach to calm yourself down, to sort out your health and wellness, and to just not be so overwhelmed when life gets really overwhelming. So this is called the be, do, and have. Maybe some of you have done this before, and we are going to do it from the lens of health and wellness. You can really do it for any part of your life, right? You can segment it into lots of different parts of your life. Sorry, that was a mute. I want to ask the question first, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? So let's think about this from a health and wellness perspective. Like I said, you can use it for a lot of different things. Who do you want to be? And if anyone has something that just jumps right out at them, put it in the chat and we can sort of start to talk about it. And I'll give you some of mine as well. But I want you to think about those three things. Take some notes, think about a few things, and then we'll talk about them. So who do you want to be as it relates to health and wellness? What do you want to do? Like, what do you actually want to do with your health and your wellness? And what do you want to have? Okay. So I'll give you a couple examples. I want to be, for the who, I want to be a calm and strong person with a clear mind. I also honestly want to be a person who gets up at 4:30, 5 o'clock because I feel really good when I do that. That's sort of my who, a few of the pieces. What do I want to be? I want to be able to do a couple of pull-ups in a row. I want to lose maybe 5 pounds, 10 pounds in a mindful way, connect with my body, connect with my food. What do I want to have? I want to have the time and space to journal. I also want to have a strong and healthy body. And those are just a couple of mine. I love what's in the chat right now. A joy bomb. Karen, that is amazing. Who doesn't want to be a joy bomb? Let's all come up with as much of a description as Karen just had. I love that. So, what else do you have in your list? And this can be an activity you can go really deep on. In the time that we have, we're sort of just skimming the top. So, I want to pronounce your name right. Rasilia wants to be a health and wellness coach. I love that. What else? Who do you want to be? Good. Elaine says, I want to be someone that inspires my kids to want to be healthy. Right. Yes. Yes. What else do we have? What are some things you want to do? I mean, that's a fun category too. I want to be pure, unconditional love towards others. Yes. You guys are amazing at your descriptions. These are great. And also, what do you want to have? This one, when we do it sort of in an overall life span, gets people a little bit. Like, what do you want to have? Yes. Jessica says, I want to be comfortable in my own body. Yes. Yes. Endless energy is a great one. Yes, these are awesome. Keep them coming. Do we have a few more? So thinking about, and also this is what I see with people who set, and I mean, this is time of year, people are going to set some New Year's resolutions or goals. And it's not that I am in any way against them, but we don't go deep enough, right? We don't really get to the heart of it. And this activity sort of helps us to do that a little bit better, right? Because it's different brackets. So Annika said, for myself, oh, it's going fast, so we got to get it back. I want my physical body to match my mental body. Yes. Yes. For others to be a resource of strength and empowerment. Kendall wants to hike the Appalachian Trail. Love it. Kelly says, I want to be calm, focused, and compassionate to all, including myself. Yes. Another one, I want to sleep through the night. Yes, to sleep. I want to live an active life and be free of any medications and feel good in my mind, body, and soul. Yes. This one, have a deeper connection with my friends, new mate, and friends. Jessica said, be a search and rescue dog handler. How about I am to be in love with everything? Yes. I want to live to enjoy my family. Yes. These are all really, really good. So from here, I want you to put, I have to say this one before I tell you the next one. I want to not start a diet every Monday. Yes, right? So you're going to put together a one-liner. You can change this. This is just kind of the fun part of this. I want you to take one from each category. One from the who, one from the what do you want to do, and one from the have. So a be, a do, and a have, and you're going to create one sentence. I am a person who does and has. So if someone has their one-liner, let's hear a couple of those. It's kind of fun. They don't have to match at all. That's what's really great. They don't have to match. You just kind of pick. It's like one of those choose your own adventure books, if you had those when you were younger. So what 3 things can you sort of put together for yourself? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? Let's see what we get. So my quick one that I sort of put together earlier was, I am a person who is calm in my mind, has ease and respect with food, can achieve my fitness goals, and has time and space to journal. So I sort of just put the 3 of those together. I am pure joy, I am peace, and I have a loving, communicative partner. Yes. Yes. Let's see if anyone else has one. And this is one activity that helps to center you and to say, okay, what do I really want to be? Because that is one of the most important questions. And then the doing and the having, right? They all flow together. I am a joyful woman who cha-chas in the living room and has endless energy to spare. Yes. Yes, Patricia, that is a great one. Yes. How fun is it to sort of put some of these things together, right? And it's not the classic health, wellness, fitness things, right? How is your wellness put together? So like I said, we're going to go through 3 different activities. So we are skimming the top of each one of these, but you can change up these one-liners. And then from here, which we won't do right now, but what you can do is take that and break it down into some action steps. And in each activity, we're going to talk about how to do it the pajama way. So how do you make this the easiest thing, remove the barriers, and make it sort of the minimum effort in a way? Because those small, consistent things every day is what really does accumulate, right? So asking yourself the question, in what small way today can I be that joyful woman? Well, you could actually cha-cha in the living room. Yes. And how can I create endless energy? So you can make those actual action items, but don't make them so big that you can't accomplish them, right? It's not a thing that you'll achieve by tomorrow. It's not a thing that you'll achieve next week. But what can you do every day to fulfill that one-liner a little bit more each day? And I want to tell another quick story about clients before we move on to the next activity that supports this pajama theory. I would have clients come to me, they were new to the gym and they'd be really excited. And this is at any time of the year. And I would say, okay, what are your goals? Well, I am going to come to the gym 6 days next week. Nope, I'm going to come to the gym 6 days every week, they'd say. And I would sit there and I would listen, and I'm not going to bash their hopes and dreams. But then I would say, what if next week you only came twice? And their eyes would get big, like, whoa, that's not my goal. And I said, if you try to come 6 times next week, something's going to happen. And you're not going to come 6 times. You might come 5. But I don't want that to derail you from the week after that and the week after that. So you're at 0 right now. So what if you only went from 0 to 2? And then worked your way up to 6. So that's essentially a little bit of the pajama principles, we might call it, right? What's sort of the smallest amount you can do that will build, right? You can get out there for that walk in your pajamas. All right, let's go to the second activity. So again, there's 3 that we're going to sort of go over today. And again, I would love your great answers in the chat. So the second one is kind of a quick life assessment, because health and wellness does not happen in a vacuum. So we cannot look at just your fitness or just your eating patterns or just your mental health. We have to look at everything that's happening in your life. So if you have paper, even on your phone, but if you have paper, draw a circle. And if you don't have paper and you're using your phone, make a list. And I want you to write down the 8 categories. So if you've got a circle, you're going to make a pie or a pizza, however you want to think of it. And what are sort of the top 8 categories of your life? I don't like to give away too many, but here are a couple examples because I want you to come up with what it is for you. So a couple of mine are food and sleep. I put those together. I have travel as one, although, 2020, but it is always on sort of my categories of life that I'm working on. Um, Money is a category for me. So I don't want to give too many other categories so that you can be creative with what yours are. So, like I said, health and wellness does not happen in a vacuum. So we have to take a look. And this is my favorite tool to do a quick assessment of what's going on in life. Helps you, again, center. So if you want to put any of your categories in the chat and share with us, that would be awesome. I will share a few more of mine, or probably all of mine, as we go further on in this activity. But let's see what we collectively have as parts of our life. And there might be more than 8, but then it gets really expanded, right? Family, fun, exercise. Yep. Let's see what else we have. I have relationships as one of mine. Crafting, yes. Volunteering and community outreach. These are great. Let's see what else. I have training for me as another one, and social. Learn a new skill. That's an amazing category. Self-care as a category. How did I not put my dogs as a category? Annika has the right idea. Work, dogs, me time. Yes, even when the husband is home. Yes. So you can make these categories anything, right? Let's see what else people come up with. Meditation, meditate. Yes. Yep. So now I want you to take those 8 categories, decluttering. Yes, Elaine, that is on my next set of 8. But take these 8 categories and I want you to do a quick ranking of 1 to 10. And this is important, this key differential. How satisfied are you? Not like how well are you doing? Are you succeeding necessarily, but just how satisfied are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being highly satisfied, great, needs no change. And just do a quick ranking. 1 to 10. 1 is very low, 10 is nice and high. Satisfied, not success per se, but how satisfied are you? And if anyone wants to share a category or 2 and what you ranked it, or here's a better question. Did any of your categories surprise you with what you ranked it? Did anything sort of come out of the blue or catch you by surprise? 1 to 10. Yeah, social is very low, especially due to COVID. Yes, very important. Yep, that's going to feed into the next thing we're going to talk about. Cats rated 10. Yes, animals get a 10. Yep, Elaine says, I don't take time to learn the new skills I want to learn. So it's a 1. Like the category's there, but I'm not doing it. I'm not satisfied with it. Yeah, does anybody else have anything? And it's really an interesting question to ask yourself. Am I satisfied? And when we think about health and wellness, and I might say to someone who's done this activity and they'll say, okay, I want to work on my fitness. I'm not satisfied. And I have to really ask, is it that you're not satisfied or do you not feel successful? Because going for 3 walks a week in your pajamas might actually be success to you. in this time. But you might get it confused with, or it might be satisfactory, is what I'm really saying, right? So it's a little bit of gray area that's important. Travel is usually a 10, but now it's a 3 to 4. Better at things for others and lower at things for myself. Yes, that's a really important one to take note of. This one's interesting. Most of my categories are a 5. What does that tell you? Feels kind of mediocre in all of them. So none are super high, none are super low, right? So with these rankings, I want you to, for the sake of today, pick one and just circle it. Which one jumps off the page, right? Which one just grabs you? Not your highest score and not necessarily your lowest, but which category just grabs you? And then within that category, ask yourself this question. If I was a level 10 satisfied, what would I be doing? If I was a level 10 satisfied with work, what would be happening? If I was a level 10 satisfied with my food and my sleep, what would be happening? And again, share some if you would like. So we've sort of taken our whole life categories, we've broken them down into some manageable categories, sort of a broad overview. And then we did a quick ranking of satisfaction. And now from here, we pick one for the sake of today. But if you wanted to do this activity on your own, let's say you have 8 categories, pick 2, maybe 3. Yes, you could work on all of them, sure. But kind of to Kelly's point of if everything is a 5 and I try to work on everything, likely not much is going to happen because it's too many things. So again, when we think back to health and wellness, our overall theme, or we come back to just goal setting in general, we often have too many. We try to put on too many clothes. We need to just wear our pajamas, right? We need to focus on one thing, remove a few barriers, and sort of go for how do I make it happen with some effort without making this huge, grandiose thing happen, right? So, what would happen in your life? What would be happening if one of your categories was a 10? And if you want to share anything, you can put that in the chat. So, a couple of things for me I'll share as we go through this. Let's see what category I would pick. Let's pick money. If money were a 10, I would have, I don't like the word budget, but I would have a better plan, right? So, I would probably have my accounts in order. I would have a spreadsheet that I could understand. I would pick days of the month that I would do my accounting, especially in business and personal, and really strategize. Like those would be what would make my money a 10. Those things would be happening. Jessica says the toddler would be sleeping so that I could. Yeah. Yep. And that's important. And I want to come back to that for sure. Another Rasila says new business is a 1. And if a 10, it would be that I had been making progress with learning some new skills. Yes. Elaine said, if my food was a 10, I think I would be feeling energetic. I would be happy. I would sleep better. I would lose weight. I would feel strong and accomplished. So another one here, and I'll tell you what we're going to do next with this. The self-care category jumped out to me. It seems the most fun. I love that. And I actually gave it an 8. I've been focusing on it for my clients, so then it helps me too. If it were a 10, I feel like it would spill into all my other categories. Yeah. So from here, you've gotten your, if it were a 10, and truly spend some more time. If you like any of these activities, dive deeper into each of them, right? Really expand it out a little more. So with this one, we took the overall, then we ranked them, picked a category, asked ourselves that question, what would be happening if it were a 10? From here, because I love taking things and making them action. It's hard when we just think about them and then we don't actually create a plan to do it, right? Like I just said, it would be great if I had a spreadsheet and a day of the month that would be helpful, right? All of those things. Now I have to make my action plan. So from the things that you wrote down that would be happening, what of those things could happen? Or how could you make an action item? And again, remember the pajama idea. How can you remove the barriers so that you can at least start? How can you make it not as big of a deal so that you can move forward? So, what are a couple of action items you've thought of that you might do to move some of this towards a 10? Knowing that A, not everything is going to be a 10 at the same time for sure. And maybe 10 is not necessarily the goal, right? But is increasing that satisfaction, increasing the way you feel good about it, right? So let's see what we come up with for a few action items. And while we're writing some of those out, this is what I see with myself, with clients, is that we have a goal or we have an idea of what it might look like. And then we don't really think about how it would happen and what needs to happen. And the clue is our third activity is, like I said, they kind of build on each other. So we're going to get a little more into that. But we try to make the action steps so big. And then we can't get over that hurdle of getting going. All right, let's see what we've got here. So not having the junk food in the house, food prepping, so they're healthy things to eat on hand, right? So some action steps to take in your own home so that you can have more energy. And if I remember, if I'm linking these things together, have more energy and also sort of inspire my family to have more energy and to eat healthy, right? Allocate 1 to 2 hours daily to work on business website. Yes. The next step would be what hours, what days, right? Like actually, what are they? It's an amazing start knowing how much time you need. And you may or may not even need that much time, right? But allotting that time. This, Paula gets the gold star. She hit on the thing that ultimately I think I work with myself and my clients the most on. Lower some expectations to achieve more. 100%. I don't know what book this came from or the author, and I really should look it up. But he said, most unhappiness in life, and I'm paraphrasing, so I can't remember the exact quote. Most unhappiness in life comes from unmet expectations. So whether those are some we put on ourselves, whether those are some outside expectations, friends, family, etc., whether those are subconscious expectations, right? Those make an impact too. So lowering some of those expectations, yes, again, pajama principle, lower that expectation a little bit. You don't actually have to get dressed. You can go for a walk in your pajamas, because if you do, and you do that on day 1, you might go on day 2 and then day 3, right? And you will achieve more. Yes. Yes. So, okay, let's all take sort of a collective breath before we go to the third one. Thank you so much for interacting and sharing these things with me. That's been so meaningful for me to see your contributions as well. So, the first one was kind of that internal, who do I want to be? What do I want to do and have? Then we did a little bit of the practical, like what's actually going on? Let's evaluate. Now we're going to go to the day to day. And we're going to talk about the to-do list, because I have sort of a love-hate with a to-do list. I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I love a list. I love to write things on the list, and I love to cross things off the list. And it serves a purpose for many of us. But I also have had a client for over a decade, and this woman has had probably the same to-do list for probably a decade. And one time I said to her, "Are you ever going to accomplish anything on your list? Like the whole list?" And she sort of looked at me and was like, "Well, no." And I said, "So what good does it do to have this really long list that you know you're never going to accomplish it? Wouldn't it feel really good to accomplish your list, make things happen?" Right? So she and I talked about this strategy a little bit. I still think she puts a lot of things on her list and it's still a mile long. However, some things are getting done. So we just made some action items. So those action items might actually translate onto your to-do list. You might take that, okay, 1 to 2 hours a day. I need to allocate it. I need to put it in so I can work on my website. I said I needed to meal prep, so that's got to go in there. A couple of the other things, like I need to make those action steps happen. So I want you, our activity for right now, so I want you to write down as many of the to-dos that you have rumbling around in your head right now that you can think of. Just put them onto your paper, put them in your phone, and just get them out of your head. What are some of the things on your to-do list? You have a free pass to write out your entire to-do list. What goes on there? And again, if you would love to share, I would love to share that with the group. So what's on your to-do list? What is occupying space in your mind? What do you think about when you lay there and you try to get sleep? What's on that to-do list? I have some website things that are on my to-do list. Yes, that's part of mine. Scrub my floors, meal prep, laundry, book more speaking engagements. The list varies. Take the dog for a walk, take the dog back to the vet. What is on your to-do list? Because again, health and wellness does not exist in a vacuum. And also, as you're sort of thinking of these things and sharing some in the chat, when clients say to me, I'm stressed, I always say, what are you actually feeling? And that goes down to this to-do list a little bit too, which is, what are you actually feeling when you say stressed? Are you tired? Are you sad? Are you anxious? Are you worried? Are you overwhelmed? Are you feeling that you're falling way behind? What is behind the word stress? So that's a little bit of what we're also going to do with this to-do list. Put phone away and play with kids or read more. Jessica said, yes, that's definitely on a to-do. Declutter my house. Yes, this emoji. I did a little bit of that today. What else is on everybody's list of to-dos? It's another good one to think about at the beginning of the year, right? Practice guitar, set up my new blender to make smoothies, move my body, read my book, make dinner, learn Spanish. I love the variety in these things, right? And this is what happens too. We have such a, not cluttered, but an array of things on our list, right? Which makes it even more overwhelming. And our brain is like, there's so many things. You want to make a blender and you also want to sit and read a book. And then you want to learn a language, like so many things, and play with my kids. What else is on that to-do list? And then I'm going to ask you 3 questions to help you with this list. All right, here are the 3. And I want you to take a good look at your list. What is mine to do? So what is on this list that truly is mine? I have to own it. Only I can really do it. It's mine. It's for me to have. It's for my list. I can't really delegate it. It's mine. That's the first question. So you're going to kind of categorize what is mine and be honest here, because the next question is, what can I get help with? What am I willing to accept help with? What do I need help with? This is critical, really important. Where can I allow help? And that's the differential between what is mine that only I can do. Like exercise is one of those things. Truly, only I can actually do it. No one's going to exercise for me. So that is mine. I can get some friends or I can make a group that I do it with, but that's for me to own, right? Who can help me and with what is number 2. And then number 3, honestly, what can I just get rid of on my to-do list? That kind of goes back to my woman that just kept putting the same things on her list. I said, do you really need to have all those on there? They're never getting done. You're not doing them, nor are you asking for help with them to get done. So they've been on your list for 3 years. So what comes up for you when you ask yourself those 3 things about your to-do list? Did you claim anything as yours? Did you come up with a surprising, like, oh, I could get someone to help me with that? And did you just cross some things off? Again, share with me if you'd love to in the chat. And maybe some of those things go off your list for now. Maybe they come back at a different time. But if your list is a mile long, you've just added some new action items from the previous activity that you didn't have before, but now you do, and the list got longer. What can you get rid of? Honestly, what could you just get rid of? Who could you ask for help? Elaine says, my kids could help me learn Spanish. Yeah. They could be in on the activity. You could involve them in your goal. You could involve them in that. So that's not even like, can you help me hang this shelf? Which is also great because I physically need you to help me hang this shelf. But cool, I want to learn a language and my kids could really help me. Now I get to also spend more time with my kids. So, what did you claim as yours? Who can you ask for help and with what? And what did you just get rid of? Kendall, I love this one. I just said it to myself today. I said, why don't you just take your car and get it cleaned out by someone else? Yes, I could pay someone to clean out my car. Yes, yes. And that could be done quickly, pretty easily. And that'll get off that list, make you feel so good in your car. What else do you guys have that might have surprised you or that you're like, oh, yes, I could do it that way? So Patricia says, my daughter is a project manager and asked to, okay, I don't know what this means, but it's probably an acronym, scrum my projects, put in the dates and the what to do when. Yes. And she feels so clear. Yes. Isn't that funny? Someone else's strength fills in your gaps and you've been doing this with the to-do list and it's still on your list because you don't actually know how to do it or you don't understand or frankly, you just don't want to. And getting someone to help you with it just, oh my gosh, this is great. And Patricia said, and she loved helping me. This is what's golden about asking yourself this question. Who can help me with this and how? Because chances are they will be really excited to do it, especially if it's their skill. The person who's getting paid to clean your car, Kendall, will be very happy to do that, right? Patricia, your daughter is so happy to help you. I'm thinking of another example. I was talking about building business and asking for referrals and sharing information. And I had someone tell me, I would be so honored if you asked me to do that for you. It was mind blowing to me. I was like, you would? You would be honored if I asked you to help me. How cool. I mean, I had never thought about that. I was over here thinking I was going to have to do this whole like outreach and this whole list, right? And then I asked for some help. Yes. So, with your to do list, especially when you're overwhelmed and life is just like this, and there's so many demands, and we're trying to set New Year's goals and all these different things, break it down. Elaine said, my kids could pick a day each week and cook a meal for the family. Yes, right. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yes, they could. Again, who can help and how? So those are our 3 activities. And I want to talk a little more about sort of the pajama principle in general and tie them together. And then I would love to have sort of your feedback or what you took away. And we can chat a little bit about that. But one more comment. Kelly said, it seems the must-dos often take over the long term, sort of a dream and inspiration goals. And then I never seem to get to those. Isn't that the truth? Sometimes those must-dos take over and don't leave a lot of space for your dreamy goals, your inspirational goals, right? So that's where that second question, well, actually the second and third, what can just go? What can just go for now? Maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't. And then who can help and how? So that you can kind of peel your way out of that to-do list so that you can get somewhere with those. Yeah. Or this one too. Jen said, no one can help. I own them myself, so that I put them on the calendar. Also true, right? And that is the differential too with owning it and saying, I own these things, I got this, versus I wish I had someone to help me. It's so overwhelming, all these things I have to do, right? So that's why I asked, like, what can you own? What are you owning on your list? It's awesome. So from the top, and again, we'll just sort of review these 3 and tie in that walking in your pajamas idea, which is how can you lower that expectation a little bit, which always sounds a little funny when we're thinking about goals or we're thinking about working on our health and wellness. And again, we are thinking about health and wellness specifically, but we can't think about it without thinking about life and everything together, right? So center yourself with that. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to have? And that can be outside of health and wellness. We did it in that bucket, but you can do it for your whole life. That's a really fun one. I have found that when I do it over time, at different points in my life, many of the things are the same. So I start to really notice the patterns about what I want to do with my life. And then some things don't show up again. And then at times when you feel pretty overwhelmed with everything that's going on, potentially do that life assessment. Those 8 categories or however many categories you want that are in your life so that you can see, where's my satisfaction level? Where could I pull up a little bit? And then taking some action items out of that, but taking them the pajama way, right? Like minimum amount, repeated day after day, and then taking that into your to-do list. What do I need to own? Who can I have ask for help, or who can I ask for help? And how can I make small progress as I go? So I want to open it up a little bit here at the end. How can you apply these principles to your life or to your health and wellness? What's a takeaway that you're having that you're thinking, yeah, I'm really going to use that, or that one was really meaningful? I would love if you wanted to share. And so we can share with each other. For me, when I sit down and I do any of these 3, actually, I find that I let myself get consumed with little things, whether that creeps into my to-do list, whether that creeps into just my goals a little bit. And so when I sit down and I clarify, I'm able to see a better picture. I'm able to see that my actions one day, a little bit at a time. I used to be, maybe you can relate, very obsessive about exercise and very strict about how many minutes, how many hours, how many it has to be this way. And then I was able to one day look around and say, I think any movement is good, even if it's 10 minutes. And the freedom that that allowed me was so great. And then the 10 minutes every day, or almost every day, some days are obviously more, but I was able to use that to not put that huge expectation on me, to not put that huge, big goal of it has to be this way. And I do honestly walk in my pajamas a lot. Many days I walk in my pajamas because frankly, I don't really want to get up and get ready. And I have dogs that have to go for a walk. So I get that walk in, but without any expectations of what it's really going to be like. So what are 1 or 2 takeaways that you have that you will go forward with that will help you with your health and wellness? And I also want to ask this as we're sharing in the chat. Think back to those words that you thought of at the beginning, your health words or the images that flashed through your head, the fitness, the wellness. Do they tie together with what you came up with in some of these activities? Did anything surprise you along the way? And I hope that these things were helpful and that you can take them forward. Let's see, Macy said, have big aspirations, but be realistic. So she said big aspirations like the gym 6 days a week, yes, but be realistic so you can actually start and work up to what you want. Yes, exactly. So, and to not be discouraged, right? So if you want to go to the gym 6 days a week, I love that. But if one week you don't make it, that doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that you have failed on that, but that, you can work on those steps to get there. You might get there in 6 months and be like, wow, I go to the gym 6 days a week and it's no big deal, right? Because you took those steps to get there. Patricia says, I get up early so I can cha-cha in my PJs with my earphones so my partner won't be disturbed by the music. That's beautiful. Yes. And if you remember at the beginning, that was who she wanted to be, a person who cha-chas in her living room. Love it. Now she could say, well, I can't really do it because my partner is still sleeping. No, earphones, brilliant. And in your pajamas. Yes. Kelly says, expectations have always been rough on me. So I love the idea of lowering them. It's a strange concept. It really, really is to expect less. It's very counterintuitive. It's very against what sort of society has taught us to do. Kelly also says, building on the smallest amount, just do something and anything is better than nothing. I think we could all agree that sleeping 2 hours a night is better than 0. sleeping 4 is better than 2, right? You can see how that makes sense in a lot of different ways. All right, let's see what these other ones say. Exercising each day doesn't have to be a sweat fest. Oh, that one took me a while to get over mentally too. It can just be moving my body a little bit like a walk. Yes. Yes, it doesn't have to be an all-out sweat fest. Rasilia said being able to take smaller steps and have smaller allocation of time. Yes. I heard a rule, but I have tried to adopt this, which is if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. Right? So I'm like holding a piece of clothing that I just folded out of the laundry and I'm like, I could put it in the drawer. I could just put it right here. It doesn't take that much time. Little things. Yes. A fun thing for me was on my list. I have to put it off until, I lost the second half of your message. Also being able to be more grateful for what progress I have accomplished. Yes. Recognize those small steps, recognize that you're moving towards that goal, recognize that you are making progress, even if it's backwards, right? Because you're still probably going forwards. Jen said, with my disability, I need to start by finding out if there are senior disabled programs and work up. Yes. So sometimes it's getting more information. We don't know till we find out more information. That can be the overwhelming part. So you could also say, who could help me with that? How can I make that happen? Look up that information. Yes. I find myself trapped by that sometimes too, where I just don't think to look or to get the information yet. Annika said, don't let myself get derailed when hurdles occur. Yes. Right? Because you don't have to be dressed for your walk. You can wear your pajamas. Hurdles will happen always. Yes. I was asked recently on a podcast, like, how do I handle challenges? Or like, it might have been secret to success with challenges or something. It was an interestingly worded question. And I took a moment and I said, I think the key, for at least me personally, is my ability to reroute a situation in my brain, right? To take it and say, okay, maybe that didn't go as well, got a little derailed. How can I change it? Right? How can I take where I'm at, take what I've been given, take the situation, and dare I use the word of 2020, pivot my actions? But it's true. I mean, I tried not to say it in the interview. I was like, well, basically, I just know how to pivot really well. But that's the point, right? You take what's happening and you just remember, lower my expectations a little bit, make some adjustments. Yeah. I can't thank you all enough for sharing with me in the chat. I love to talk in person and have that interaction. So I was hoping that we would all be able to do that here tonight. And I really appreciate, well, it might be afternoon somewhere, but I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And I hope that some of these things were helpful and that you're able to take them forward into your life so that you can make that progress in all areas of your life, but especially for your health and wellness.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was awesomely great. It was really fun. Fun to have you. It was a great end to our day.
Oh,
Really
good.
wonderful. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I feel like I've realigned my priorities a little bit. So it was very freeing to sit there and say, I don't have to accomplish everything right now at the best. I can build on it. So thank you.
You are so welcome.